So for this BJT, let's say for this, probably, of course, is that we're going to follow the Donald and Neiman, but maybe some portion might be from the Sadler Smith. Basically, about this kind of like let's say as we progress further, so about the current derivation, those things. So maybe we can see onto Sadler and Smith some portion. I can share you the probably those pages scan copy. That's possible. Maybe just share the photo. Those only 2 or 3 pages one. Anyway, so BJT is I think as I mentioned in that also that earlier we used to have like kind of vacuum tubes before 1940, and then in 1940 people started looking in Bell Labs about this alternative for vacuum tube. Vacuum tube you had the triode, so we're getting the amplifying actions basically. So to alternative, so they get it to the transistor, which is that lead to the kind of a revolutionized, like that has revolutionized really the all your electronics. And then further we have that this device then been become integrated later on. So that's if you look into the BJT, it's a kind of like a standalone device, but when you look in integrated form, that device we call as a field effect transistors, a MOSFET, and your all your current all your device, all kind of like a where you consider laptop or you consider mobile, all electronic gadgets, right? Just based on that CMOS technology, basically that's onto the FETs. That's a field effect transistor, which is the integrated form of your BJT. So we'll start with our the discussion on the BJT, bipolar junction transistor, and then we move into the field effect transistor later on, and then finally we finally in the sense onto this side operation amplifier. So that's also kind of like a having a separate like kind of cascade of, let's say, kind of like FETs based on the devices. So I think in the experiment also you are going to do in the same way. So basically, I think your expert number this C amplifier. So after the rectifier that you are going to do, that's experiment number 4. That's basically onto the BJT. I'm kind of like finding out or let's say understanding the amplifying action using a BJT, and then kind of like evolving out, finding out its frequency response, those things. So what's mean by the BJT? First of all, is I would say that it is an active device. It's an active device. So active device mean that it's need always a power, external battery or external power source to keep it in functioning, right? So that's very much important. So since you're not doing any physically kind of like this lab into the in the laboratory, so one is generally is one of the common problem that we generally do forget always to put up additional power supply. This is common. It's kind of like a, but it's an active device. So even if you when you're doing into the virtual simulator, if you do not connect this power supply, this device may not work. Also, this device may not work, right? So and this is a, as it says, is a bipolar. So both electrons and holes actually they constitute current, so bipolars mean it is both the charge carrier. So that's the reason it's in a bipolar, and it has a 2 junctions, of course. So that's we look into the further. And transistor basically is comes from the terminology that is a transfer of resistance. So it's pick up kind of like a transistor, right? So because you go from the, let's say, low resistance to the high resistance, because as we I think it will be clear. So that's so a device is basically is you can consider, you think of 2 PN junctions that's put up in series, or let's say 2 diodes put up in series, but actually it looks like it has a kind of like a 3 compartment. It has a 3 compartment as shown in here. So that's one of the we call as, so it can be in either N, PN, or it can be a PNP. So basically you have one emitter. So one portion of is an emitter that you can see here. This is an emitter. This portion is an emitter. And then you have the sandwich layer between there is a one thin layer which we call as a base, and then there is a portion, last portion, which we call as a collector. So this portion is called as a collector. and this is an emitter. So basically the role of, so it can be your NPN or it can be your PNP. So basically your transistor BJT exists in two forms, to kind of like a in NPN or PNP type. And in this case, what you see, actually this is a bit symmetric, but the cross section of the individual, like kind of like a, let's say individual, these compartments are slightly different. So collector is basically is quite, the cross section is much larger for the collector. So it's something looks like if I draw it on cross section wise. So this is an emitter and this is a base. So emitter, base and collector. Basically it's something like this, and we have of course a contacts for the metal contacts for making connections, taking the wire out. So it's an asymmetric, and we generally make that it's an emitter, name suggests also we call this an emitter because it's supplies inject the charge carrier, since if it is an NPN, if this is an NPN type, in that case, since it's the N-type semiconductor, so it's like heavily doped. Basically, it's a heavy dope. So majority charge here is the electrons. So basically, it supply the electrons to the and collector means is going to collect the all the electrons which is, let's say, passing through this region, right? So basically, thin is the base is to make thin, and which is a little bit lightly doped, lightly to moderately doped, and collector is a light to moderate doped. So emitter is highly doped. So this is a highly doped, where the base is moderate to light, moderate to lightly doped, and where the collector is lightly doped. This is a lightly doped, is electrical unsymmetrical. Okay, because of your of course in that case, like you have a highly rich, large electrons, like large number of electrons, and so it's something like a n plus plus. Let's say if you take this as a p and this is, let's say, n, maybe you can take as a p plus. Or so it's my plus sign double means it's a highly doped. Now this is what we are most important is that the 4 biasing condition may exist. 4 biasing condition may exist in this one, because depending on which junction is forward bias, which junction is a reverse bias. So what does mean? What I mean to say here that, so this is, let's say, emitter, base and collector. If I take as NPN, so if I take this as NPN, so what we can understand, so it means from for emitter to base, so there will be two junction would exist. One is at this boundary, this interface, and that would be your onto this, right? So that's on base to collector. So that's an emitter base junction. And another would be your collector base junction. So that's would be your collector base junction, right? So as we understand through the p-n junction theory, that of course you get in a space charge region, that's your depletion layer would exist at the two interfaces. So now depending on how do we connect now, so 4 conditions, biasing condition might be feasible, that you have this can be your forward bias. So it means if you make a emitter to the base, it can be forward bias, right? And this can be your reverse bias. So one condition, it can be your forward bias. This might be possible forward bias, and this can be your reverse bias, might be reverse bias, or the fourth one is basically you just make it as a emitter to base can be reverse bias, or and collector to base can be your forward bias. So that's fourth one would be your reverse bias and the forward bias. So the 4 conditions may exist, and these that makes it useful for the different of variety of applications. Basically what we are going to learn is one of the application, that's where emitter to the base junction, emitter to the base is a forward bias, the collector to the base is a reverse bias. So if I have the geometry, if I have the NPN, so in that case, so it means what I need to do, we have to do this has to be forward bias. So with this forward means N has to connect to negative terminal, where the base region has to connect it to the positive terminal. To make it a reverse bias, collect to the base junction. So what need to make it to reverse bias? The N terminal, N side is to be connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and where is this has to be connected to negative terminal. So this region becomes this portion is a reverse bias now, and from here to here this is a forward bias. Now once we have kind of this situation, what we now we can see that if once make a forward bias, this region, the let's say depletion region or depletion width will be narrower, it shrinks, whereas in case of a reverse bias, so you get in a kind of like a one narrower. So I think this I may have picture. Just hold on. Okay, maybe somewhere. Okay, so before I that, so probably I think they'll see the how complex geometry looks like of making a transistor. This is for integrated one, for kind of like so you have the kind of like a base, and then you create an so this is the base region P plus, and this is an emitter. So this is basically an emitter, and this is a base, and then collector region is here onto the onto this is a collector layer in the right. So okay, let's see, just hold on. Okay, where I want to show. Okay, I think the here. Okay, we are here on the here. So forward act. So this reason where the base to emitter junction is forward bias. So which EB which I'm calling to EBJ. So that's and this is a CBJ, collector base junction. So where is the base to emitter junction is forward bias, and base to collector junction is reverse bias. This mode we call it in a forward active mode, and this is basically the mode which is desired for creating an amplifier, out from the BJT, or creating a making an BJT is turning into an amplifier. So this is basically used to create achieve amplifying action to create an amplifier. Whereas there is another that's if both are forward bias, if both are forward bias, and that this is in a saturation mode. And if it is in a cutoff would be when both are reverse bias, and we call this as a reverse of the active mode, that's inverse active or reverse active, where the base to emitter junction is a reverse bias and base to collector junction is forward bias. So basically these kind of like saturation cutoff we use for the switching and other applications. So what we are going to learn, basically we are going to consider focus onto this forward active mode operation, where because we are going to understand onto the amplifying action of the BJTs. Okay, so if you look into this one, so that's as per if I consider as an NPN, so there is a base to emitter junction, and as I mentioned, this has to be forward bias. So you can see that N side is connected to the negative terminal, P side is to the positive terminal. So there's a battery which is connected, and then you have the for base to collector junction to be reverse bias. So N side is connected to this positive terminal. So you can see that as you make the forward bias, the depletion layer will be shrink, and where this depletion layer would be enhanced. Let's say the width will be enhanced in case of this, since it is a reverse bias, like we understand from the PN junction. So since your electrons are majority charge carriers, on N side. So of course, there's some doping profile that have. So this is, and the current which results here actually is because of diffusion, though the component from the drift is very less. So basically that is dominated by the diffusion currents. So what's going to happen? So let's say electron which are the majority charge carriers and the minority charge, so it may have some doping profile, it may something like this. So doping profile for let's say the electrons, and maybe the holes minority might be something like this, the minority for minority charge. Okay, I think it's so in next slide. So what's going to happen as it is it in a forward bias, the electrons actually would, these electrons are majority charge carriers, they will go to the, they will diffuse into the P region, that's your base, and the majority charge carriers into the base is basically the holes, or the majority charge carriers here, right? And the concentration gradient for this these electrons, when it reaches to the base region, it becomes minority because holes are majority charge carriers in this, but become minority, and this layer is very thin. So make sure like what I'm focusing this, the base region is very thin in comparison to the in comparison to if you look into collector or emitter cross section. So what's the possibility may have? That's now that the electrons may some recombine, but we have to decrease this recombination rate so that the electrons which goes to the which diffuses to the base region, which passes through the base region, now it reaches to this interface. So since it's in a the collector terminal, it's a much higher potential. Since it is connected to the positive terminal, so collector has much higher potential. So the electrons are being swept away. So the electrons which injected from the emitter portion, maybe there may be some definitely some recombination may take place, because of then you will lose the electrons. And but let's considering that the thin layer and the diffusion length of let's say the holes or this one is much less than is much less. So in that case, the electrons is may cross because of the force swept. It will be swept away into the collector. And since there is a lightly doped already, the collector is lightly doped, so it means you see the extra electrons which are coming injecting from the emitter to the is reaches to the collector. Not all electrons reaches to the collector, but majority of that reaches to the collector. So that's how we get the gain. Actually, what I mean is the gain, because he has certain already some, so it means that's you see some kind of like amplifying action. So that constitutes, so electrons reaches to the, let's say you get it into the onto the collector. So electrons that moves, so that consider the current, which is basically the which is basically due to the electrons, so IC. And whereas in case of since electrons are moving from going injecting from the emitter side to the is going to this towards the collector, there's some diffusion, so it constitutes the current which is emitting from the is coming out from, not emitting, is coming out, the direction is current direction flow will be coming out from the emitter terminal. Fourth case of NPN, this case of the NPN, so that's a component, current component we call as an emitter current, and this component of is collector current. And this is your component we call as an emitter current. Now, so we have third component of current as well. So basically these are the order of this order of milliampere, and now as I mentioned, so what's maybe as what's happening into the base region, so the some electrons may recombine, and some electrons may recombine, and even and the holes which are lost, said right, the holes which are majority charge carriers here, so they definitely they will also diffuse across, this junction. So that constitute one of the component of the current, the base component of current, and become minority here. They become minority into the n side because of and this is the n type, so become minority. So that's constitute one kind of like component of the current which we call as a IB1. And another component of current that comes because of the since some a recombination is going on, recombination may take place into the base region. So the holes are being supplied. So holes are being supplied because it's a positive terminals. Holes are being supplied by the battery. So that's also, since holes are being supplied, so that's constitute the another component that we call as an so that's the component IB2. So the total current that comes to be, so the direction is going here. So this means entering into from going into the base. So that's the total component of current is IB. That's component current we call as a base, whose magnitude is generally order of microampere to the, this can be picoampere. Right. So we have the three. So what we, so to make this kind of working of functioning of, suppose you do not connect, let's say this battery, if you do not connect this battery, this is not, the device is not going to operate. Right. So I think okay, so this is what I just explained. And if we look into the the doping concentration profile or gradient. So this is since a base, this is a base which is a p type. So the electrons which are injected from here, they become a minority. So it follows, let's say there is a concept gradient, something like this. And if it is a, this is an ideal one, of course, linear one. And when it is a recombination, so there is a some shift would happen. And if we look into the case of kind of like a, so these are the, this is kind of like a for p type. So that's for the minority charge carriers. That's going from the base region, the minority charge carrier which travels into the to this n side, to the n side, to the emitter, it passes through. So that's basically it has a kind of like that become minority into the emitter region, and it follows, let's say this is a gradient profile for the minority charge carriers onto the n side, and the same way this might be like this onto the on this. So what you see here, so the current that constitute okay onto the emitter, so it will follow because in a p-n junction, this so it says is a p-n junction, so it's follow the in the same way. So I is not is nothing, is a reverse saturation current, and the voltage which is applied VB over VT. So whatever you apply the voltage across this base to emitter junction, and so that depends on to the cross section, of course. As we looked into the p-n junction, so it depends on the cross section, depends on temperature as well. So both the factors, it depends. And the same way, once it is reaches so the base current, so the collector current will also follow. So the same it will follow the same kind of like a pattern. It will follow the same kind of like a pattern. So the collector current is simply would be given as an is VB over VT minus 1, and we can approximately write down is exponential VB over VT. So this is a again a reverse saturation current, right? So and what we want us to note that the component of the this collector current is always slightly less than. So I think this I'm going to probably okay, I think I'm just going to explain you on this part. Yeah, so okay, I have just given you this relation, but okay, so this relation which exists between the emitter and collector current is the some constant. This alpha is called as a common base current gain, and is always less than unity. So I think let's wait for a few more minutes. I think that we'll understand. And this base current, as I mentioned, is a two component because of the flow of holes that's being supplied from the that's going from, since it's a base, so because it has a the majority charge carries at the hole, so that goes to the to cross to the emitter side. This is the base and this is collector, so that also that's constitute the current. And another one is your basically recombination with the majority charge carriers. So since the electrons are which is goes from emitter to the base, so they may have some recombination that because of this there's a holes are being supplied from the battery, let's say from the positive terminal. So that's constitute the second let's say the component of the base current. So this we generally okay. So the first one, let's say IB, that will follow the same as an VB or VT. So we get it IB1 and okay, so the constant, so that's we get it IB1 as an AE Q dP and I square divided by ND LP, and then this is your exponential VB over VT. This is nothing, this is an kind of like a let's say kind of like a saturation current or leakage current, which depends on, of course, the diffusivity of the holes and intrinsic carrier concentration. And since it reaches to the emitter, so what's the this is the doping concentration in the emitter, and LP is the diffusion length. That's LP is your diffusion length, whole diffusion length in emitter. So this is basically diffusion length in emitter, doping concentration. So ND, so you can send donor atoms. So basically doping concentration of donor atoms. And AE is your cross section area for emitter region. Because the holes are moving, and this follows kind of like a this kind of like gradient, because it become minority into the emitter. So that's the reason that we have this all coefficients. And dP is your, this is the diffusivity or diffusion coefficient, diffusivity of holes coefficient, right? So, and the second component is basically for the recombination. So that's let's say the charge, which is since we are, let's say the electrons, which is combining number of electrons, which may combining with the holes, number of holes. So charge is basically is so what we can, so it means that amount of number of holes which are recombining, let's say electrons and holes are recombining, so that number of holes has to be supplied by the battery. So we get it this we write down. So let's say if there is an this IB2, the second component, but we understand, let's say this the charge which is, so this much of charge which is to be supplied, the number of let's say the holes, and divided by TB is your, let's say it's a time, so we call it magnetic carrier lifetime. So this is tau b, so this is, let's say, magnetic carrier lifetime. So actually we get it, so we can find it out basically depending on to the concentration gradient actually. So we get it this terms, and finally we get IB2. So there's some few steps, as in a half AEQ WNI square to BNA and exponential VB over VT. So what you see here, this W is your actually the depletion, not depletion. Yes, so W is basically this width, not I won't say this this width. So it's effectively actually the physically it is like this, but since it's now this region is a forward bias EBJ, and we have this is much larger CBJ. So basically it is this distance W, right? So if we find it out, the total component, so the base component is become, this is order of actually of course microampere, so IB2, and that we can write down IS that is okay. So that means here the this IB1, this one component, and then we have the IB2, this component. So this we can write down as and we make use of okay. So basically you have the both expressions. So AE Q dP and I square divided by NDLP and plus half of AE Q W and I square divided by tau B and A and exponential VB over VT. And reverse saturation current for the collector. I think I didn't give that number to you, but this is, as I mentioned, IS, and IS is basically it's I think I gave an expression in PN junction, but we can just rewrite once again. So AE Q DN and I square divided by NA and W. So we can make use of this equation having, so what we are going to find it out actually, so we are representing this IB. Finally we can write down as an IS, and then just de-aging the term a little bit, dp over dn and a over nd w over lp plus half w square dn tau b, and this is exponential vb over vt. So this factor actually, this we can write down, this is now, let's say IB IS into this, actually this is something IC, and this is the beta, and where is beta is now something 1 over, not this, so this 1 over this factor dp over dn and a over nd w over lp plus half w square over dn tau b. So what you see here, actually this factor, this beta is depend on to all the fabrication parameters your and the constants. So is a diffusivity for the holes, diffusivity for the electrons, the concentration of donor atoms, acceptor atoms, donor atoms, and this factor width, diffusion length. So that's depend on to the your concentration gradient profile. How do you make it? And of course dn, this again the diffusivity for the electrons, and tau b is your magnetic area lifetime. So this is when you make it, when you fabricate. So this beta is, let's say, is some, of course this comes into the number, of course this in terms of number. So is we call as in a common emitter current gain, this factor, but this is this very important in the sense understanding that your device may have this number may vary. So all the device may not be identical. So devices, let's say you pick up one BJT, may have a 1 beta. So this number of this beta basically it's for standard BJTs. So it is designed such a way that you have this gain factor, let's say common emitter current gain. So it's basically that's higher than 50 and less than 300. For special high power devices, maybe 1000 one can design it. And this is another one is very much important relations. See here, that means that your IC is your beta IB. Why I'm emphasizing this, because you're going to do some experiment, right? You're going to do the experiment on the BJT, that's your C amplifier, and as per, let's say, the manual, it says that we need to confirm that the transistor is in active mode, and its suitable Q point, the quiescent point is suitably located. And when we go for kind of like the circuit which you see into the experiment, so it's a bit complex. So I think
So if you can hear me, we are not being able to see your presentation or hear you. Are you there?
Oh, sorry. I think I know why. So it means I lost somewhere. Okay, here. Okay, so I think I discussed on this summarize this current relationship where I is equals to IC plus I beta, and IC is related with the beta IB, and IE is your 1 plus. Okay, so I think this is typo mistake here. This should be 1 plus beta into IB. Should be 1 plus beta into IB. So if we, and IC is equals to alpha IE. So if we know, let's say if the base current is 10 microampere and beta is equals to 100, we can find out other components of current, collector current, by IC equals to beta into IB, and I is 1 plus beta into IB. We can find it out, and also we can estimate this alpha. So as I was saying to you, this is we call as a common base current gain, and this is we call as a common emitter current gain, right? So there's an I don't know what's happening. Can you hear? So if you look to this animation, so this is let's say you are supplying, since it's an emitter base, it is in a forward bias, and the collector to base is a reverse bias. So you are injecting the electrons. Electrons are injected from emitter and reaches to the base, and some recombination may take place. And but most of the majority of the electrons which are injected from the emitter, they reach to this interface, the collector base interface, and being swept away because the collector terminal is a higher potential, is connected to the plus VCC. It's much higher potential, so it crosses this region and then reaches to the collector. So that constitute the collector current, and emitter current is because electrons are being injected from here. So the emitter current in this direction, collector current is again in this direction, and then you have the base current which is coming to the. So that's for NPN, and for case of PNP, it will be the phenomena would be your reverse. So I think that will continue later on. So regarding this experiment which you do, I think I thought maybe to speak on that, or what's what do you want? Like, should I just explain on to the experiment part, or which you do, or you've already done, started? Can you hear?
Yes, sir.
So you want me to go ahead with the explanation of the experiment a little bit, or just what's the plan? What do you want me like?
It would be
Should
better
I?
if you could.
Okay. I think just next 5 minutes. I won't take that more than so. I just give you an explanation onto the experimental part. Let's see if I have the blank slide here. So, okay, just 1 second. Let me open to the manual. One second. Okay, can you see? Okay, manual. So basically, you are going to do this experiment, which is says about C amplifier. So circuit which I will draw it circuit here. So give the input signal, and then you have the voltage divider circuit here, and then you have the one collect resistance. So you can see the VCC always need to connect it, and then you have some presence of resistor at the emitter terminal, and this since is a grounded, this we call as a common emitter configuration. So is a common emitter amplifier. So C means common emitter, and what we have to do actually, we have to find out, let's say, values of the VB, VC, and VE, and this measurement virtually you can do it by using Fastad or LTSpice. This is done. So basically, what if we read this sentence, it says that, right, determine whether, so basically, okay, so basically whether the amplifier is suitably located. So this one, whether the amplifier is biased in the active region, thus forward active region, and whether the Q point is suitably located. Right, if once it is done, so it means the circuit which is used for this BJT for this device, let's say, because you have the circuit, you have the R1, R2, and then RE1, RE2, and RC, right? So that gives you the whether the Q point suitably located. For Q point is, I think I mentioned, is when you put up the load line, where the in the output characteristics or input characteristics, it intersect the load line that intersect the whether input characteristics or the output characteristics. That point we call as a quiescent point. That's where you can get the DC-like conditions. And the second point, which says about the measurement of signal handling capacity. So basically, this we observe, the one has to observe into the oscilloscope the waveform, and we keep on changing the input voltage, and at certain point the signal get distorted. Signal started distorted means output signal get distorted. So that's a point we call as an there's a maximum voltage that you can apply of the small signal, because we are doing a small signal analysis. There's a region small signal here. So so if the voltage level, if you see 100 millivolt peak to peak, and we keep on changing, and then signal started distorted. So why I mean to say on these 2 points, just want to make clarification. That is that I think you can do in that way. So just hold on, let me. Okay, so I hope you can see my slides. The slide is visible?
Not yet.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, just hold on. Okay. So basically for the Q point to be suitably located, so I'll just draw, let's say, characteristics for, let's say, for the common emitter. We'll explain this probably later on also. So this is what this is the voltage which we apply. This is output voltage, or let's say VCE. So that's with respect to the emitter. Emitter is the ground, so with respect to that, and this is collector current. So this is output characteristics. So in the imagine collector current, so basically we put up a line. Let's say this is maximum would be restricted by the VCC, which is you connect to the supply if it is 12 volt. So the 12 volt, and this would be a point. So what you see the maximum is onto this line, it would be your VCC by RC, let's say. Right, and it intersects. So this is basically for different values of, let's say, IB, base current. So you're giving a signal into the base feeding, so different values of IB. So the key point suitably located means, and the reason actually here, this region is saturation region. And this region where device has to be operated, where you need to operate, is an active region. Right, so your amplification for the BJT to provide the gain to the signal, one has to be in active region. So the key point suitably located means it should be, let's say this value, let's say is not be 0, but it's certain number saturation voltage around. For this has to be measured for silicon based transistors, roughly 0.1 to 0.2 volt saturation voltage. So the voltage level, what you see that output, let's say there's a corresponding to 1 here, so it should be somewhere in between these two. So suitably located, if it is in middle, so set of value of resistors that we apply into the circuit, by doing all those, I think the calculation, the key point has to be located suitably, means this has to be in between the greater than saturation voltage, but much less than also the bounded, upper bounded, let's say, output voltage VCC. Then it may happen. So what we are going to do here, let's say, as you're changing into the key point may vary. If you are changing any of this key point may vary onto these characteristics. IB means like you're changing the, let's say, amplitude as a part of this. So what we get it. You can hear me, right? Okay. So let's say this is the input signal. And this is input signal. What we get is an output. So output is amplified output. You get it like this. As you keep on changing, let's say input, you keep on changing the, say, the input amplitude, let's say up a little bit. Let's keep on changing. So what may happen that as you keep on going, I'm just drawing all 3 curves. Let's see, keep on increasing. This is red one is the input, so it's T, and this V voltage. So it means what may happen that at for certain, this is not a very good drawing, the hand, but it's a sinusoidal still, but it may happen that at certain level of the input, so this become distorted. You can see this, you can see very clearly that this started become distorted. Distorted in the sense it becomes starting little flat. It's not a kind of like a this curve like a sinusoidal, but started getting flat. So once this starting getting flat means, what does it mean? You're changing amplitude means you're changing the IB, right? You're changing amplitude means you're simply changing the base current value, and the key point is moving. So that's possible, let's say, for fixed value of all the parameters of the values of the resistor that's are present into the circuit. This key point, which was, it may move onto this line. It may happen this may reach to here, or it may reach it to the the maximum value. Let's say this is okay, one more graph. If I do it, it may reach to this point. So if it is going in this way, it's getting distorted. So it means now the amplified signal is getting distorted, means whatever the input here given, input was, I think, exceeding in such a way that it reaches it to the saturation region, or it may go to the cutoff region also. It may reach to the into the cutoff region as well. So the cutoff region basically is your for IB when the base current is become 0 or less than negative. So it's basically as your cutoff region. This region we call as a cutoff. So that's point we call as a maximum signal handling capacity. So it means the circuit which is present, for example, for the given. So we have arrived to this. There has been reason for to reach to this circuit actually. So I think that will explain as we progress into the BJT. So that's you get in a VCC. I'm just giving on a DC part, and as there was a capacitor here connected, so to give an input signal. So this was a V in and CC coupling, R1, R2, RC, RE1, RE2, and then there is a provision to provide the putting a capacitor, and then you're taking the output across. Let's say we are measuring output across this, and this is connected to the ground. So this is the circuit which actually we doing it. So it means the presence of R1, R2, RC. Why did we choose R1 and R2? So there has been reason as we go for DC analysis part, as we understand from the next week. So that might be clear why we go for R1 and R2. This provide you, of course, stability in the sense, let's say you never don't want to keep on change the circuit, right? If the device get bad, so you may replace this with a different device, and that device may have a different beta. Different beta means you are going to move onto this output characteristic. Key point is may change. So your circuit should be able to handle, right? So if we pick up, we may design a circuit in such a way that it should be able to handle that kind of like a variation. So this variation may be less in terms of beta. And as I mentioned to you, that's the reason that to show you the beta that's depend on to the so many factors. So the fabrication dependent completely. So that may change into, let's suppose you design the circuit, it was working very good, so it was giving very nice amplifying output, but by somehow this transistor got bad, and now you got another transistor which has to put up in, and I see that beta for less common emitter current gain for that transistor was changed, right? It was changed, and the Q point is moved now. It may provide you this kind of like a characteristic. So it means this signal is now amplified signal will be distorted. So that's not the kind of requirement. So that's the reason, one of the reason that we have kind of like this voltage divider circuit, voltage divider into R1 and R2, one of the reason. And then we also connect RE1, let's say, because it's connected to the emitter terminal. So that's the reason we call RE emitter register. But it can be, why did we evolve out? So I think I'm going to explain you into the next few classes in the DC analysis part. So regarding your experimental concern, so regarding experimental part, so that we need to see whether key point is suitably located or not for the circuit. We find it out. We obtain the VCC, let's say this voltage, not VCC, this voltage, and if it is let's say output voltage is greater than saturation voltage, VC saturation, let's say, which is around 0.2 greater than VCE, the output voltage. VCE nothing is a PU not output voltage, but much less than VCC. If it is in half somewhere, if it is this is a 12 volt, for example, and by measuring it, you get it around 5 point something or 6 points. So it means you are in active region. So this is located in middle, somewhere in middle point. So this is very suitably located means the key point is now somewhere, because the output voltage is around, let's say, if we get it output voltage 5 or 6 volt, between 5 to 6 or 7 volt is still fine. So but as it reaches to the 11 volt, so it means you are moving the key point somewhere here, right? So which is not desirable. So in that case, you may get kind of like a distorted. So you give the input signal like this, but the output signal, you got it output signal something like this. So which is not correct, which is not good because signal won't be amplified very correctly, right? So that's not desired for the amplifying action. So one has to be kind of a bit careful while designing the kind of like a circuit for amplification purpose. So that's the part of your experiment part. Rest is, I think I think it will be learning through that. You can try out, you can just design the circuit in FastSet and work out. Right, one more thing, announcement before I stop here. I think TS might have joined, and so group 2 and group 7 students, those because your TA is today absent, she has some kind of some situation, emergency situations, she cannot come. So group 2 and group 7 students to stay into the main channel, like on this same channel, group 2 and group 7, right? I think let me see whether TAs are there. Just hold on.